Hello, welcome to Cardboard History. I'm David, and it has been a while since I've done a video. I think probably at least a month. It has been a pretty crazy month for me. We've had a lot going on at home with some different projects that we've been working on, and school and work have likewise been pretty crazy. So I've taken a break from YouTube for a bit and wanted to just do a short video here to show some recent pickups that I've had and some different things I've been working on with my collection. So without further ado, let's get into it. While I still have the camera facing towards me, I guess I will show something that I've been working on that has been a project that's been in the back of my mind for a couple of years, and I finally, about a month ago, decided to pull the trigger on working on this project, and that was collecting all the different Perez Steel Hall of Fame postcards for Cubs, and for those that are able to get signed, to get those signed, and then to put them together into a display. So this is what I have right now that will go up on the wall behind me above the Mark Grace jersey. But I guess starting over here, just working chronologically through the different Hall of Famers in Cubs history, and then a couple of blank spots, but on the bottom, Lee Smith here, I was able to send away and get his autographed. Santo, unfortunately, has passed away, so can't get his. This one is reserved for Sandberg, which I had that one that came back in the mail and will show in a little bit. And then Fergie Jenkins, Billy Williams, Hack Wilson, there's the Ernie Banks, and the Billy Herman, if you can get past the glare there. So this is something I've been wanting to do for a while, to kind of celebrate the different Cubs Hall of Famers, and I just love those postcards, the way that they look. So that is something that will go up on the wall, a little bit out of frame, but something that I've enjoyed. I'll turn the camera around here now and continue kind of on this. This just came back in a few days ago, so I haven't got it put in the frame yet, but this is the Ryan Sandberg. They stopped making these postcards, so this is just a custom that I printed out myself and sent away to Ryan to get signed. And along with that, I also just looked through the other cards that I had of his and thought this one would look good with an autograph. So mailed these away to him, and he signed them and returned them very graciously. So I was glad to do that. That's the first sort of batch of TTMs that I've done, and it has been kind of a new experience for me. I sent out a handful of different cards, including that Lee Smith, and then also sent these out to Rich Nye, Dr. Nye. He is currently, when he retired from baseball, went into veterinary medicine and had specialized in birds and exotic animals, and started a vet clinic in Illinois, and has since retired. I think he's still somewhat involved with the clinic, but I sent these away to him to get signed, and he was gracious enough to sign those. And then also with autographs, not that one, I was able to take my daughter to a Toledo Mud Hens game. They were playing against the Iowa Cubs, and was able to get Matt Mvis to sign this Topps Inception rookie card. So it was a really fun game. First time taking my daughter to a baseball game. She had a great time. She got a card signed by the Mud Hens mascot, and that was really enjoyable to her. One of the Cubs coaches gave her a ball as well. So a really fun time giving her her first baseball experience, and was able to get a card autographed as well for myself. And then one other kind of on-card auto here is of Kevin Alcantara. I've been putting together the 23 Pro Debut set, and he doesn't have any autographs in that set, but somebody had got this autographed, probably at a Pelicans game, and I picked this up for $1 or $2 off of eBay, and so that will go into that collection. Then some other things that I have sort of picked up recently. Probably the biggest one is this 1933 Gaudy Bill Herman. Picked this up from Brian Roth on a YouTube live that he was doing with 4 collectors. Really happy to add this to my collection. This was one of the cards that I had put on my list to target for the rest of this year. So this was one of the bigger cards that I had on that list, and I was glad to be able to pick that one up. Another card that was on that list to pick up was this T206 Bill Burns. So those are two of the 5 cards that I wanted to get for the rest of this year, and was able to knock those out. This one not in great condition, but for the price, I was definitely happy with it. So this is for the Ken Burns collection, as well as this Al Bridwell. So a couple more T206s. I don't know. By the time I'm done with this, I'll probably have about 50 to 60 cards from the set. Not quite enough to really commit to going for the whole set, but we'll see. This is a card that I actually picked up back in June, and I've been going back and forth on what to do with this card. A long story, I purchased it in mid-May actually, and by the end of June it still had not come, it had not moved. It was stuck somewhere, lost in the USPS, and so eventually I reached out to the seller, and he graciously refunded the money, and then about 2 weeks later it showed up. So I reached out to the seller, and we came to an agreement for me to send him some money and to pay him, because he was pretty much out that money from the shipping. So I was glad to get this. And then as I was digging into this set a little bit more, I realized that this is not actually an image of Harry Hooper. This, I believe, E91 set was produced in 3 different A, B, and C sets. And the first set had images depicting players, and then each subsequent set, they reused the same images, but changed the jersey and changed the name on the card. So if I remember correctly, this was originally John McGraw. But in the series where they switched it over to Boston players, they used this image for Harry Hooper. So this is for the Ken Burns collection that I'm working on, trying to collect a card from every player that was mentioned in the Ken Burns documentary. But I'm kind of going back and forth on whether I actually want to get a different Harry Hooper card that actually pictures Harry Hooper rather than John McGraw in a Boston uniform. But this has been an interesting set to research, and have picked up a few Cubs cards from this set as well. This, again, for the Ken Burns collection, Joe Dugan W515. This was a national pickup that I've been holding to do a video on Joe Dugan, but have not had much time to do that. So I thought I would kind of share the pickups, and maybe I'll come back around and do a little bit more of a deep dive into his playing career and life. Another kind of, I think this is my last pre-war card, is this Thomas Jefferson. So Jefferson's mentioned in the Ken Burns documentary, and so all the presidents that were mentioned, I've kind of made it the goal to get them from this set, from the American Caramel. And this is obviously in very rough condition. Normally this card would go for a couple $100, but in this condition, I was able to pick it up for $10. So this is definitely a placeholder, just to have the card in my collection, and was happy to get it for that low price. Then I also had an order from ComC that came in, and it was a bunch of gold parallels and different things that I was looking for. And usually when I do a ComC order, I look for some of the low price items that I'm trying to pick up. And I went through the list of cards for the Ken Burns collection and tried to find ones that would be in the $1 to $2 range. That would be a lot more expensive for me to pick up on eBay, because then I'd have to pay shipping on each individual card, and on ComC I can kind of lump them all together. So these are some historical figures associated with the game of baseball for my Ken Burns collection. This is Jack Norworth. He is the author who wrote Take Me Out to the Ball Game, and doesn't have any Living Days cards, but this OBAC TriStar series put out quite a few cards of people who played a prominent role in the history of baseball. So this, I believe, is his first card. So if you want to call it a rookie card, I guess you can, but I wouldn't go that far. And from the same series, this features Browning and Hillerick. Hillerick is the craftsman who made the first Louisville Slugger, and Browning is the player who had requested that. So that's another part of the history of the game, is the Louisville Slugger. this card kind of goes with the Bill Burns that I showed earlier. This is Arnold Rothstein, prolific gambler who was responsible for, on some level, helping fix the 1919 World Series with the Chicago Black Sox. Russ Hodges is the announcer who is most infamous for his call of the shot heard around the world. The Giants win the pennant. The Giants win the pennant. So this is, there it is on the back. The Giants win the pennant. His infamous call from Bobby Thompson's 1951 pennant-winning homer. The shot heard around the world. And finally, also from that TriStar OBAC series, Nuff Said McGreevy, the sort of head of the Royal Rooters and one of the early super fans of the Boston team, who really helped. What was the name of the bar? It doesn't say on here. I can't remember. But that there was a bar near Fenway Park, and he was a huge fan of Boston and would always bring out a lot of fans to the games and be a place where people could gather and talk about the happenings in baseball. So those are some of the pickups I've had over the past month. Really, it's been, for me, almost felt like the off season for card collecting for YouTube. I've had to take a little bit of a slower pace with some things and focus on some other projects. So possibly for the next couple of months, I'll just put out a once a month pickup video and share some of the things of where my collection's going. And hopefully then, as things come around to the spring, I'll be able to finish up some of my schooling and spend a little bit more time on the hobby. But for now, priorities take priorities, and the hobby takes a little bit of a backseat, but it's still something enjoyable that I get to spend time with, and always fun watching some videos when I have time of the things that everyone else is picking up, and just happy to share what's going on in my little corner of the world, and really looking forward to Strongsville next year and the card shows ahead where we can meet face to face. So thank you all for watching. This has been Cardboard History.